Look me up on Google, search the classics, you crazy bastard. Hold me up and pull me down. It's a battle royale in the eye of the storm. Drowning in the shallows when the path is getting narrow. I'ma ride it out on this broken arrow. Fuck it. Hold me up.
Welcome to Unfiltered Idiots, where we chat shit about real shit,
talk shit about those not giving a shit,
wondering and complaining why they ain't got shit. So here we are, ladies and gents, episode number 5.
Oh, number 5, here we are.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I played the 5th. All right, sorry, big Dave Chappelle fan. I love the Chappelle show.
Yeah.
Anybody who hasn't ever seen that one it's a fantastic episode about pleading the 5th. I love it. Anyway, yeah, man, ladies and gents, we have a good show for you today. A little headbanger. We're going to start off with, obviously, what we always start off with, introducing ourselves, tell you to go follow us. So first and foremost, Kenny.
What's up, guys? My name's Kenny, again, from Aurora, Colorado. Yeah, lots going on. I can't wait to get into this with Wes. It seems like every time that we come back, there's into the new week, there's been a ton of crap that's going on, and it's kind of, and we both have jobs, right? We both have jobs, so it's, trying to do the podcast and keep up with everything that's going on in our world is difficult. But yes, that's
kids,
great for you guys. Kids,
grandkids on the way.
Oh my God. Yes,
our grandchild.
Yes, sorry
to put that evil on you, baby girl. If I said kids, it's as we know, it's a single child at this point. Hopefully we don't find out there's all of a sudden she's got 5. But
oh God.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry to put that evil on you, my love.
I
love you, my daughter.
We
so
are
much.
on one today.
Yes.
Let's introduce yourself.
Yeah. So as I said, Wes, aka Metro, also from Southeast Aurora. We already talked about we have
Can
kiddos.
you show me how to do that? How do you do that?
The little Metro symbol.
Okay,
the little Metro symbol.
Okay.
Shout out to I have a few different aliases and nicknames, like Pete. A lot of my boys call me Pete since I was a young dude. That's got a story behind it. But anyways, has to do with Land Before Time movie, but we'll maybe talk about that one day. My brother-in-law, Patrick, love you, Pat. He started calling me Metro, and it really stuck, and that's my business is Metro Functional Fitness and everything. I've kind of made that like a trademark, if you will. Guys and girls, gents and ladies, make sure you go and follow us on all the different social medias.
Everyone.
We're including everyone in this.
Damn, don't start.
It's all peace, world
we
peace.
We love you all.
World peace.
Yes.
Can you tell them where they can find us?
Yes, absolutely. Don't forget to like our Instagram page at Unfiltered_idiots IG, and on Twitter at UFI.
No, you have idiots.
You have idiots.
There you go. We're going to get that right.
You have idiots at You Have Idiots on Twitter. And don't forget to email us any suggestions or comments, concerns. Me at Knewell at unfilteredidiots.com and Metro at unfilteredidiots.com.
Yep. All right, man. And obviously, like we said, we'll be found wherever any of the podcasts are found, from obviously Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, all that. So go check us out. And again,
why the hell do I have such an issue with that damn Twitter handle?
Don't forget to subscribe.
Somebody had the Unfiltered. Actually, I don't know. We did try to steal it, but it is what it is. Yeah. So first and foremost, so we want to talk about first and foremost about the Super Bowl and all that, some sports stuff. Just because there's a lot going on in the sports world. Pretty wild, my view of it. I wish I would have known what was really going on with Mahomes prior to making some bets. I knew he, well, he possibly has a torn Achilles. So that's what, at least from what I read
that's
about.
absolutely news to me.
And they talked about that even on the Super Bowl. They said that he might have a torn Achilles.
Oh, okay.
And
I missed
that was.
I knew that he was having some issues with his foot, but I didn't know.
Yeah, and if I would have known that, I probably would have made my bets a little bit different. I still had that. I thought Tom Brady. I thought that Tampa Bay were going to win. Everybody that's talked to me, you can go out there and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've all said, gun to my head, I'd pick Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But I definitely was putting some money on KC because I thought that if Patrick Mahomes, even with missing their left tackle Fisher, I know that's a big factor, but he's been running around all year making plays, but when I start seeing him throw balls in the dirt and sailing people on plays that normally, and then of course he had some big drops. I was like, oh shit.
That whole game just reminded me a lot of Super Bowl 50, where it was just dominated by defense. I mean, the Kansas City just really couldn't find a rhythm.
Well, the thing is, Mahomes, you're trying to plant the throw with an Achilles, a torn Achilles, and my bet is that Tampa Bay, right, they're going to have some of the best sports doctors in the world, like all the 32 NFL teams, just like all the, NBA teams, right? They're going to have the top brass in their world. And so they were probably able to look at that injury in the Buffalo game and really see it and go, I bet you he's torn his Achilles. You know what I mean?
I don't know so much about that,
but
I know that Kansas City did have a lot of things going on, especially with Andy Reid's son.
Yeah, and I thought that was a huge factor too.
And anyone that says that, that wasn't on the team's mind,
100% it was.
It's 100. There was, and I need to follow up to see if that 5-year-old child is doing all right. But
she was in critical condition.
She was in critical condition, and
he said a couple drinks, but like the cop.
And
trying to be respectful, the cop said his eyes are beet red, and it doesn't sound good, didn't look good, and I'm sure Andy Reid was probably thinking, oh God, my son might be going to prison.
Well, and again, his son, died of a heroin overdose, right, before a few years ago. So I think that there a lot of factors went into it. Kansas City definitely didn't look like Kansas City and
at all
contribute or give
and props to Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Props to Tampa Bay because they showed up.
And Tom Brady, look,
best game of the year.
People can not like it all they want, and this is a Bears fan. This is why I complained about why we didn't get Deshaun Watson when I thought he was the obvious choice. Yes, I thought Patrick Mahomes also was going to be very good.
Yeah.
I can, be honest and tell you, I don't know that I thought I thought Deshaun Watson was going to be better. Now I think they're pretty equal. I just think one got to go to an amazing situation. The other one went to
it's all about
one of the most horrific situations.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff too. Because I think that Deshaun Watson,
Tom Brady got to go to the Patriots, who was right there.
I think that Deshaun Watson being put in the Kansas City system would have thrived as well.
100%.
And it's all about, and we all know, especially today, J.J. Watt. He requested that he be released from. And
then they cut him, which is what he wanted.
Which is what he wants, but that just kind of lends itself to how much of a disaster that organization is right now. So, it's kind of lending some similarities to Von Miller. Should we keep that salary? Should we let him go? Because no team right now is either the Houston Texans or the Denver Broncos are a year away from being a great team. So should we get rid of that salary like the Texans did, or should we just keep moving with Vaughn and go that route? So a lot of tough decisions.
Yeah, and so the Bears. So there's some analysts that I was watching about the Bears, and they were saying that if it came to getting Deshaun Watson, give up give up 3 number ones.
Yeah.
And I agree with that because it's
totally.
What pisses me off is that you only had to do 1 number 1 5 years ago, and you could have drafted the dude with the 2nd overall pick. Unbelievable, but that'll probably never.
I'm with you on that one. But again, as we talked about in the last show, Mitchell Trubisky had a great year.
He's playing better now that he got benched. I honestly think he's a decent. It just when you look at those two people, and you go look at Deshaun Watson was doing with Houston. I mean, if Houston had Trubisky, instead of 4 wins, they'd probably been a 2-win team, maybe even and so getting like a 1st, 2nd, 3rd pick. I mean, Houston's still gonna be a higher pick.
Sure.
But Deshaun Watson by himself, right, easily is 2 to 3 more wins than having Trubisky.
Yeah.
Trubisky might be 2 or 3 more wins than having somebody who's really just really bad. I get that, but when you start talking about 2 or 3 more wins in the NFL, dude, that's monumental.
That's huge, right?
That's LeBron's only worth 15 more wins in NBA. Well, 15 wins is humongous.
Yeah, that's the difference between getting in the playoffs and sitting at home sometimes. So.
Yeah, 100%. Damn, one game. A lot of teams are out of the playoffs by one game.
Especially, recently the teams are so competitive now, and it's just so close. Well, especially what's the bad division where and I always
the NFC East. The NFC East is horrible this year.
Is that
they had the second? I think they had tied or the second least amount of wins per division ever.
Yeah, and it wasn't the
The other one was the Broncos one year. The Broncos division is AFC West.
Yeah.
One year.
It's just.
No, it might have been the NFC West. I don't remember.
Isn't it the division where the Giants are in? I can't remember.
Yeah, the Giants. The Giants won the division with
without
6-10 or something like that. That was pretty. Or no, the Giants. Sorry, wasn't the.
They didn't win the division this year.
No, it was Anyway, it was Washington that won at 6-10.
Right.
Sorry, but
Washington football team, guys.
The Washington football team.
Yeah, hopefully they figure that name out before.
But I think we talked about the last podcast, we were talking about leadership, right? We were talking about, for example, why are these teams, or why is this company, or why is our country, or whatever you're looking at, why do they tend to keep having the same problem over and over? And like we talked about, it's their leadership, it's their top, it starts. I mean, all of you people on the supposed right, or whatever you want to say, that Reagan's whole statement was the buck stops here. Well, it's weird how you guys seem to forget that when it comes to your political, it's the pass the buck, left and right.
Well, I mean,
right.
So here's my.
And we'll go into politics in a second,
here,
but I'm just saying, it's funny because it's the same way in sports a little bit.
Yeah.
The owners will try to go, oh well, it wasn't so. It is you. It's always you. It starts at the top of the pyramid. If you're not right, you don't select the right person here, and then it goes all the way down the chain. And the next thing you know, your field product sucks.
We can definitely talk about that until we're blue in the face. However, what you're saying is absolutely correct. It all starts with leadership, and it starts with the person in charge.
Yeah.
And that trickles down to government, and that trickles down, NFL, NBA, association. So, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, now as far as Watson, I know we talked about him. Obviously, there was a Stafford trade. We talked about that a little bit last week. That's a weird one to me. I don't know. I think both teams kind of I don't know. They both, in my views, they both kind of screwed themselves, but they both kind of, who won the trade? I don't know. I think they both lost it to me. But
LA, in my opinion, they won that trade.
I mean, yeah.
Matthew Stafford in a good system.
But they give up 2 number ones for that.
Yeah, it is what it is sometimes. I told you that. We've disagreed on that.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes you have to give up.
They're talking about that with Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Listen, dude, I would give them Nick Foles, the Eagles, give them back Foles, and I would give them or trade. I mean, you could.
If you're Eagles fans, you would make that trade any day.
I'd give him Foles, and then because Carson Wentz, dude, for 2-3 years there, it was everyone's, dude, he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and then. What happened was, again, management, they started having problems,
Injuries,
and you saw that. Well, some injuries, but I think it was also to do with some management stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so, if you don't like the guy that you work for or the girl you work for, dude, you're not going to probably, and sports are so emotional.
Yeah.
If you think the person behind the scenes or even the coach on the side doesn't like you, isn't calling plays that benefit you, is trying to screw you over, I mean, it's so mental.
Well, I've been in property management for 18 years now, and I've had great leadership, and I've had terrible leadership.
And your production,
right?
I guarantee, was worse or better based upon that.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. You happen to be married to, Gina. That her mom was my mentor. She's the reason why I have everything that I have today, and she was a great leader.
Yeah,
and she
very smart, man.
She taught me everything in the business, right? So I've had that kind of leadership, and then I've had really, really poor leadership that sucked. Those situations sucked, and I got out of it.
I've worked for bad companies too, and you're damn right. I wasn't on my game. You're feeling like every time you go into work, whatever it is, you're just not feeling right. So imagine trying to do that and then also have all of this pressure.
Well, the media.
I mean, imagine being the quarterback of an NFL team or the
social
star
media.
Point guard. Yeah,
everything, man. It's just.
I'm sure that is, and when you also don't like I mean, look at DeAndre Hopkins goes, and Watson goes now. J.J. Watt's somebody who's been a iconic.
I mean, that's
guy in
J.J. Watts was the Houston Texans, right?
Loading up sandbags during the hurricane.
That was sad.
Harvey, terrible.
When I saw
he was out there throwing sandbags. That dude, props to you, J.J. Watt.
Well, he was just
guy.
He was like, I can't do this anymore. I have a limited time left in this league, and there's no way I'm gonna get out on the field with the product that they have produced.
I mean, to me, like you said, that would have been like John Elway asking for like a release, or Brian Urlacher asking for a release after a decade of service.
The face.
I get he's getting older, but
he's getting older, and he's like,
that shows you how bad leadership can really fuck something up.
He's like, I need to go win a championship, and it's not gonna happen here. In the place that the franchise that JJ built that franchise basically over the last 10 or whatever 11 years. So
I feel bad for the Houstonians.
Yeah, hate to see it. Hate to see it.
There's a gang down there called the Houstons. Anyway, I just bring my little fun segue, but no. So like I said, guys, we were talking about some of the sports stuff. A lot of the stuff with Watson, it's up there. There's some stuff where he just said some things about Denver. If you want to talk about that.
There's been some things going back and forth on social media. Kareem Jackson, obviously a former Houston Texan. They were teammates, so he's been posting things. Jerry Jeudy posted this video on Instagram, and Sean Watson liked the video.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Everyone's trying to make a play for him, but he did say something about San Francisco and Denver. But he's also said something about Chicago, New York.
I just don't. I don't know the new general manager for the Denver Broncos well enough to know. I know where John Elway would stand. He'd be like, I'm not giving all of this up. We'll just continue down the road with Drew Lock. That's kind of how John Elway's been.
I think, like we talked about last week, I think a lot of these guys and girls, they get in this mindset where they view themselves as this like demigod, as if though everything they touch, like Trump, turns to gold, where like really a lot of what he touched, and a lot of these people that feel like that, what they touch is trash. Like it ends up being, fool's gold. It ends up being shitty.
Yeah.
And I see that, like, again, some guys and girls are really good at a sport, not good at like scouting or coaching, or they're mediocre at this sport, and they're not good at coaching or
I'll just come out and say it. John Elway was exposed. I mean, he had Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's going to make anyone in the building, anyone on the field, in the building, the executives, he's going to make them better, right?
For sure,
and
top
when
10,
he
maybe
went
even
away,
top 5.
when he went away, the drafting issues were exposed by Elway. Everything was exposed. So, he did the right thing in saying that I'm going to bring somebody in to make these decisions now, and then hopefully we can turn this thing around, because as Denver Bronco fans, we're just not used to it. I mean, as Browns fans, you guys are Browns fans.
We've had a problem with quarterbacks forever. But it's like the weird thing
you guys are really used to losing.
We have the second most titles in the NFL, so that's okay. But regardless, two things on this whole front about Peyton Manning. I'm gonna make this quick.
Yeah.
First of all, everyone gave Elway way too much credit. Way too much credit. In fact, I think he had it. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he might have been like the last little deciding factor, but everyone act like he pulled him away from 31 other teams. No, dude. Everybody in the NFC was out. He said that from jump. His brothers in the NFC, he wanted to potentially try to play his brother in the Super Bowl, not beat him out to go to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
So the NFC was out. Everybody in the AFC South, where he was just playing, right? Their quarterbacks at that time had some good QBs coming up, and of course he didn't want to go anywhere there. Or like I think like Jacksonville was like trash. He didn't want to go there, so that was out. Tennessee was the only one who had a decent defense, and that's why it came down to Tennessee and Denver, right? Yeah. So then you go to AFC North. At that time, Joe Flacco they just won it had been a couple of years, but anyway, you had Joe Flacco still looking really good. Ben Roethlisberger still in his prime. At that time, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, they thought was really. I mean, he's playing fairly good. So he's sitting there going, man, now I'd have to play with the Browns. It wasn't going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So again, there's the AFC East out, AFC South out. Now you start going to the AFC North, AFC South. The AFC East was never going to happen with Tom Brady in that division. There's absolutely no way. So now we're down to the AFC West, and the only two teams that needed a quarterback there were the Raiders and the Broncos. The Raiders were garbage. The Broncos had a good defense. A Super Bowl caliber defense, really, and it came down to Tennessee or the Broncos. So maybe John Elway there, but I still think it was pretty easy to go, the Broncos had the better team,
right?
And Peyton Manning said, listen, Tennessee's going to love me regardless, right? Even school there, they're not going to abandon him for not going.
Right.
And guess what? I mean, so again, I'm trying to show you guys that I think John Elway is not doing. I don't think even the Peyton thing was really something he should get credit for.
Okay, so I went down the rabbit hole of John Elway. I thought he was holier than thou.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
hell of a quarterback.
I was raised that way.
Also
just
top
as,
10, probably top 5.
You know, me being a Bronco fan, you just respected Mr. Elway and
hell
any decision that he made. But you're right. We were exposed, and here we are, and hopefully we can move on.
Yeah, and so when you look at that and you take that and you kind of transition that into kind of what's going on in businesses, in politics, we've got to recognize when somebody's not who they are, who they say they are, because people will say a lot, right? Whatever, insert name of 95% of politicians, insert name of 95% of kids who are born wealthy, who now have businesses that they acted like, I'm the self-made guy. Like, you're not. You weren't self-made. That people will say a lot of things. Like, I can come out and go like, hey, I'm 7'2". You know, I mean, like, but that's not true. I can just make up shit all day long. So when you recognize that, we've got to get people to start, whether it's not conducive to, you know, our life. Like, is sports literally conducive to our life? No, not necessarily. Like, I love it. It's a big factor to it. But is listening to somebody from a political standpoint who's literally writing policies that are affecting your life? I mean, I'm talking not having a bad day on a Sunday, or not mad and throwing your controller on a Tuesday night because the Avalanche lost, even though they haven't been. I love it. I'm a big Avs fan. It's the only Colorado team I do really like.
Weird.
I'm a huge Avs fan. They've been playing fantastic.
From here.
But anyway, yeah, weird. But no, I look at that and it's my way of trying to explain to people how I try to get those who love sports to understand there's so many analogies into the political world, the business world. That is why we love those things as well. A lot of times is because we see those connections, and the good ones, the good people who understand this, they know how to recognize somebody for being a fraud.
Yeah. So
as soon as possible.
Yeah. I mean. It's difficult for me right now because it seems so black and white, you know, in terms of politics. For me, it just seems, you know, there's crazy, and then there's right, and then there's batshit crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of the things that we talked about before we started filming. It's like, what rabbit hole are people comfortable going down right now and digging their heels in, right?
Yeah.
What are they comfortable doing? And it's gotten to a point where a lot of people have dug their heels in on the batshit crazy, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
You know?
And for those listening to the podcast, or if you can't see the shirt, I didn't just wear this shirt to show off the guns, even though we do both work out. I work out. Little shout out to, sorry, LMFAO. Way back in the day, you know, they were kind of cool. But
cringe, man.
Funny. Anyways, I wore it because at the bottom of it says "Speak up or be silenced," and you know, when I saw this shirt, I immediately was like, dude, I love that, because that's how I feel, man. And I talked about that last week, where I said, you put your head in the sand. In other words, you're not going to speak up. You're going to pretend you don't see whatever is going on that is not right. And again, we're not talking about left-right politics. I'm saying not right, like kids being left in ditches and just like left without educations, and people of color being, you know, treated like shit, and people that are gay, like the LGBTQ community, being treated like shit. Even again, like Martin Luther King said, it was like, I believe it was like 62. No, don't quote me on that, but I know it was right in that time, where he said poor whites and poor blacks are dying on the island of poverty. Yeah. And if you really realize that this is, you know, people like Bernie Sanders, he's been saying it for 40 damn years, same shit, and everyone keeps going, why does he keep saying the same thing? Well, that's because it's true. Yeah. You don't have to be a lying piece of shit.
I'm just really,
say the truth.
Like, to be honest with you, I'm just really, really, really sick and tired of the BS, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like the poverty, you know, with blacks, Latinos, and you know, they're
and poor whites too. It's happening.
You know,
he said they're coming for everybody.
It's like, how the hell?
Nobody wanted to listen.
How the hell? Okay, so here's my thing.
Instead, they kill him because he said they're coming for everybody.
Here's my thing. Is like, so during the Obama years, okay, I feel like we were just in this fairy tale of just, you know, whatever, and then everything got exposed to what it really is.
Yeah.
And I struggle with it so much, and I've said this in the last podcast before. It's just like, when are we going to start helping the poorer people?
And just the working class in general.
Yeah, and it's like, when are we going to stop? Because we can't trust the politicians.
Yeah.
We can't trust the politicians.
There'll be a few here and there, but
anything right now.
If you're Democrat, whatever thing you want to label yourself as,
throw that out the window.
Like,
man. Yeah,
you should not vote for anybody who takes money from any like wealthy donor, any any PAC, any of that kind of stuff, unless it's, for example, like a union. Like, those types of large things, like a teachers union, even a police union, like,
but
those
seems
can
like
be good, but sometimes those get corrupt.
It seems like the people that aren't taking PAC money right now are the crazy ones.
Well,
like, am I wrong?
Well, it depends on like what we're,
You know what I mean?
what we're like, where we're kind of going there, because again, you have like people like, you have a lot of the as they call themselves, the squad, like Ilhan, AOC, Rashid Tlaib, like. I mean, these, I'm forgetting one. I'm sorry, I remember who I just said. But, like, they tend to be pretty logical. Now, yes, they can get, where they're kind of going off on stuff. But at the same point, there are some people, even on the Republican side as well,
AOC
too.
can be pretty illogical.
Yeah, at times. Yeah, at times. And that's why I said, so I'm not saying that they're not. But, again, we got to not, I guess, kind of like look at her like we might look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, because one of them is like, hey, we need to do this, and there are things like we need to
shooting lasers and shit.
Yeah, like like defund police. No, like I think we need to fund the police and make them train more. So stop being out, clocking people going 45 and a 40. Not saying if I'm going 100 that I don't in a 40 I shouldn't get a ticket. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I believe in. I have 7 friends that are cops. I believe in you guys more. That you should be doing jujitsu 30 minutes every day and like a HIIT workout every day, so that you're out there being in a good position.
I don't think that any Democrat ever campaigned on defund the police. That was just a Trump narrative.
And that's what I'm saying. But it gets put out there. But that's what I'm saying is, as far as they like abolishing ICE. Now there's a part of that I kind of go, like. If they're not going to adhere to what, for example, just happened this week, President Biden said for at least 100 days, we're not going to deport because he needs to get everything figured out. He said, give me 100 days to start figuring out, unless they committed a violent crime. And he said that. He didn't. The executive order did not say, oh, if somebody murdered somebody and they're not a citizen of this country, they can't be deported. That's not what it said. Of course, that's what they're going to tell you on, Fox and Newsmax and OAN. You can just go read it, which is what I keep trying to tell people. Stop believing.
To actually look at the
to just go read it the fucking order.
Yeah, well, that's
not long.
Well, no. That's the problem with social media these days, is because they see something, they get a catchy title, which you are a master at, and they just forward it. They don't read the actual content of that post. So you start forwarding things and you start putting it out in the stratosphere, we have a huge problem with not actually going in and reading executive orders or reading. And I will be the first to admit, I did not do that with Trump.
Yeah.
At the beginning. At the end, I started looking more into detail on what he was actually doing.
You gotta go out and read some of them.
You have to do it before you start making informed decisions.
Or don't send those things out.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be my other contention is like, if you didn't go read about it and you didn't go double check, like. Find sources. You'll hear me say this every week. Like, find valid sources. .gov, .edu, some .orgs, or at least if you find that all Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, CNN, MSNBC all agree on something. Okay, I can absolutely take that as a source. Sure. But like, look what even happened with the hurricane. I mean, you had Trump drawing in his own map saying that Alabama's going to get hit. Where like the National Weather Service had to come out and tell Alabamians, you're okay, calm down. And like the news stations, mainly Fox, then, because now OAN and Newsmax is blown up because Fox started kind of being truthful when they were threatening to be sued, which they're all being sued now.
Week.
Well, now they're all being sued, so of course they're sitting there saying that they're retract a lot of their statements about Smartmatic and all that because they're being threatened with $1 billion lawsuit.
Right.
just a tangent real quick. One of my favorite videos I saw this week was about the guy on what's his name? Oh my God, he's on Newsmax. The My Pillow guy, Mike.
Yeah.
The My Pillow guy.
Yeah.
And he just started trying to go off about these the Smartmatic voting machines, and the guy they turned down his mic, and the dude on Newsmax literally started going like, we do not have any substantial proof of this, and you could see Mike
no.
on the video going
Don't forget to subscribe.
Is that the guy that got up and
this
walked
guy.
out?
Yeah, he ended up getting up and walking out.
Yeah, he was not.
And you could see Mike. You could tell he was yelling, and yet his voice was and they just totally cut his mic, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But a month ago,
'cause
2 months ago, they were peddling all that. They let people like him come right on there and tell them, oh, there's Smartmatic and Dominion voting machines that they used in 5 states. 3 of those states voted for Trump. So what? The Dominion voting machines that they used in 5 states, 3 of them were Trump.
Don't make it make sense.
You know, right?
Yeah, don't make it make sense, man.
So those ones must have been rigged for Trump.
When you get hit with $1 billion lawsuit, when you're
I think it's like a $3.2 billion.
When your business isn't even worth that, then you start backtracking.
When you
start
realize
cutting mics,
ooh,
you start cutting mics after that.
Yeah. When you start having lawsuits of that spectrum, that attracts the dirtiest of dirty lawyers, right? It even attracts the dirtiest of dirty judges, and we know those are out there. We'll talk about this someday.
I did a whole.
But
I went down a whole rabbit hole on judges.
Oh my Lord, dude! You want to talk about something that needs to be overhauled is our justice system, but we will have a segment about that.
That's probably gonna be season 2.
Yeah, literally. No, that maybe talk about that next week because that's something that infuriates the shit on me. But anyway, but we know there's scumbag judges out there that will do all the cash for kids judges that were literally putting kids into juvenile detention because they actually were being paid by that private, publicly traded but private jail, which is a problem. But anyway, so it will attract those people that have all of these connections to literally make these lawsuits hit because guess what? They all get paid from it.
Right.
So if Newsmax and Fox has money, if Fox got hit with that $3.2 billion lawsuit, a lot of people are getting paid.
Yeah.
So you find a lot of little people little plants that you go through the correct, like I said, judge, and you find all the right little lines to make sure that lawsuit happens. And Fox knows that because they've used those same channels to get, what they want. And so they immediately, and so does CNN, MSNBC. I'm not just picking on Fox. I'm just explaining.
I was going to say, yes.
Any one of them that are threatened with that kind of lawsuit, you're gonna find out real quick how far their bullshit is gonna go because they're gonna shut the fuck. It's gonna go. Oh God, we're about to get tanked.
That was It's funny that you mentioned the My Pillow guy because that was just one of the craziest things I've seen in a long time. The guy, the news anchor is literally reading down the thing. We do not have proof of this. No. Okay, I'm out.
And the best part was he just got up and left.
I'm not going to be named in this lawsuit.
Yeah, and then the best part was Mike was yelling, and you get to see it, just how he's just going fucking bonkers. And I'm like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
I said, dude, I hate to be mean to somebody, but. And then he wrote a book this week. I don't know if you knew that he put out a book.
The My Pillow guy?
Yes.
Oh.
How
did he do that?
Oh no, I'm sorry. He's doing I think he did a book, but he also did a YouTube video, about that he had proof beyond a reasonable doubt that this whole thing was a scam.
I'm actually
hilarious.
I actually really want to check that out.
Oh, I mean, I'll watch. It's kind of like when I watched the Flat Earth documentary. I watched that for an hour. It was another 20 minutes. I finally had enough laughing.
Sometimes
I stopped laughing, and I said, "Okay, I'm wasting a lot of my time."
I mean, sometimes I do it to myself.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I like to go down the crazy, but at least I know it's crazy, right?
That's why I watch some of their stuff.
I can decipher, and I'm just like, damn, people really believe this stuff. So I'll go down.
Well, like Flat Earth. I mean, that's how I view some of these people.
Wait,
there's
the
people.
Earth isn't flat.
Yeah, exactly. But if you watch their documentary, it's just you're going, dude, stuff that they do that disproves their own theories, and they literally go, I think somebody's messing with my spherometer. That they bought a $20,000 spherometer and thought that somebody's messing with it. They just bought it, and then it showed that the Earth's curvature is 15 point whatever degrees, which is exactly what science says.
Are these Americans?
Yes.
Americans?
Yeah, the guy, one of the main guy, I think is out of Seattle, but they're all so. And I'll explain in a sense why I'm segueing to this real quick. But like that's the type of fringe that we can kind of go, okay, they're not going to harm anybody because 95% of both, I guess, sides, if you will, of our fairly divided country. 95% of both those sides believe the Earth, and it's probably more than that. I'm just 97, 99% of both those sides believe the Earth is an oblate. Obviously, they believe it is round. Okay, so you're not going to have them going in and gunning down the people at their own church that believe that. They're not going to go gun down.
So
people
what
at their
makes
own
them
school.
violent? What makes those
So
other
that's what
people
I'm
on
saying.
the other spectrum?
Yeah. So
violent?
when you get to the fringe, so to speak.
Because there are fringe people on the left as well,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we had a lot of looting, we had a lot of rioting.
Yeah.
So what's your theory on that?
Yeah. So first and foremost, when we talk about the fringe or the people outside of what people tend to feel like, I guess, normal thought process, if you will, you've got people that, like the study that I was telling you about that came out, today that CNN did, saying that 10% of people in this country believe in QAnon. Well, you could probably double that because you're going to have, probably
About
another
20%.
10% of people that are not going to admit to that because of the outlandish views that they have. Well, what creates violence in that fringe, if you will, no matter what side it is, left, right, whatever, center, it doesn't matter. Well, it'll be fringe in the center, but excuse me, like left, right, fringe, is these are things that they're believing that this one side is, like, for example, demonic. They have pedophilia rings. They're doing like stuff that they get so wrapped up in, and they go, I gotta stop it. And their only thought process of stopping it, because they get in these echo chambers, is killing or severely harming, right, or bombing.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about somebody that believes the moon landing was staged or the Earth was flat, because their own party, like I said, their own side, 99% of the people don't believe that.
Right.
So they're not going to go kill their best friend, Jimmy and Bobby, because they believe the Earth is round.
Yeah, so
but they will kill somebody they don't know because they think that they're
I can't,
a Democrat, or they think they're.
I can't get my brain to just understand. Yeah, pedophilia is disgusting.
Terrible,
It's gross.
horrible.
It's terrible. But where do you okay, so I need some evidence.
Exactly.
Right?
And when you don't have that,
yeah.
you start getting in these echo chambers and believing that. Like, so example, when I say QAnon, they said, oh, just 10% of people. And as I said, I would probably say that's closer to 20%, because there's people that are not going to want to admit it, but they absolutely are, or they can get pulled into that group very easily. They're very easily influenced. That's 66 million people, dude.
We know about that.
66 million people. That is not something that we just go, oh, hey, that's not 4,000 or 5,000. That's not even 30 or 40,000. Like I said, even if it's 10%, that's 33 million people. That would be the second largest city in the world. You're talking, when we looked it up, it was like 8 states that don't even have 1 million people in the entire state.
Yeah.
So if I told you it was, like I said, I think it's closer to probably like maybe it's 15 or 20% of people that really believe that. To make it simple, that's 50 million people. That's 1 million people per state. So that's why I brought that up. That would be like telling you these 8 states, that they're one of those states, or this state, Wyoming, whatever, their entire state believes that, like, Trump's going to be sworn in as the 19th president on March 4th. They believe that Sandy Hook was a staged, and all actors and all those kids that died were not real. That Parkland wasn't real. I mean, all Vegas shooting wasn't real.
Yeah.
This is Marjorie Taylor Greene's own videos, and these are QAnons. You can go right on their Facebook page, and we're talking, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it's probably the bulk of the iceberg, sure, but there's other stories in there that are also pretty outlandish, maybe not as effective, but like pretty crazy. And you got people like Alex Jones telling them who was supposedly Q on the phone that day, telling them, like, I don't believe none of you guys are bullshit anymore. But like, he's why they are there.
Yeah.
It's him. He's the one who, people like him, who started this whole crazy nonsense shit.
It's just another, we talked about this too. they're always pushing the dates, and it's just like this crazy will never go away. It's like, okay, guys, at some point you have to believe. Like at January 6th, right? January 6th, when the VP certified the votes, I thought this was all gonna go away.
No.
I thought everything was gonna then March 6th or whatever, not March 9th or whatever, came up, and it's just like, when will this stop?
Yeah.
Because I'm actively raising 2 children in this country right now, and it sucks.
And like we talked about, and this is exactly what we wanted to kind of get into some more as well too, was, we advocate for people to have livable wages, education, all people, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have livable wages, which would be liquid, like we talked about that one day on the podcast. It would be liquid. If the cost of a new home in your market goes up this much %, so does your wage. If they go down, so does your wage. Okay, so when everybody hears livable wage, they immediately, they go minimum wage. No, I'm talking something that's liquid, so it moves with the market that you're in. Okay, so you have that. You have education provided to people, right? Again, these are 2 vital things. Then you can start going down the list. Not that Medicare for all is not extremely important, but I would argue that, again, I think those first 2 are they're more important to me.
Livable wages.
1A, 1B, and Medicare is maybe 2. Medicare for all, right? So when you look at those things, and this is something as you guys always hear me say, I'm a nerd. I like to research. 72%. So this is out of all the voters, obviously, right? So you had 82 million and 76 million, I believe, was the number. So Biden had 82 million, and I believe Trump had 74, 76, something like that. Anyway, point is,
70.
So out of all of those people, so like 150-ish million people, right? That 72% of the Biden voters, or the 72% of the Biden voters, out of the Biden voters, 72% of them made up the U.S. economy. And then you had 28% of them that were Trump supporters that made up the U.S. economy. So you got a 46% difference as far as these voters that made up more of the economy, yet there's only a 5% difference on the amount of actual votes.
Right.
So why is that such a big difference? Right? And that's because I would argue that like the study that just came out, they said that they checked all the people that went through the Capitol attempted coup that have been arrested, and they doubled in bankruptcies. They had nearly 2.5 times in being sued by creditors. And you look at that and go, these are over the national averages, so people understand the numbers I'm talking about. So you're going, financials, gangs, most people that get violent, like whether the gang is a white supremacist gang, whether it's the Crips, Bloods, a Mexican gang, MS-13, the violence almost always happens from poverty. From I say this all the time, poverty equals crime. Yeah. And you show me poverty, I'll find you crime.
Yeah, so and I think that, when you start to link up with like-minded people, and you're in that group with one another, and you're gonna go down again. I keep saying those rabbit holes with one another because those are your brothers, those are your sisters. You know what I mean? There's no telling what the hell can happen, and we're starting to see it in living color in our nation right now. It's just like people are getting up. There's that kind of not herd mentality, but group mentality or whatever. And people are choosing sides, whether it be good or bad, and it's getting dangerous. And you're 100% correct about that. So it's all about the poverty level, but there's things that we need to start doing at that poverty level to help these people out. Yeah. But again, Wes, and I hate to sound pessimistic because we've been saying this like robots in our nation for forever. Equal rights for everyone. Yeah. Everyone, leave no child behind. It's like when is someone gonna actually stop and do this crap, man?
Yeah, and it's definitely worrisome. And as I said that one day, I mean, you look at what happened. Like again, it's not the kind of tangent, but the whole thing that happened with when the little guy made some money off of these hedge funders, right? You look at how literally the free market, the very thing that they call, the free market, Wall Street, the free. That's the thing that all the libertarian, all of them just like love. They believe it's all free market. Yeah, my Uncle Jerry used to tell me all the time, it's the most abused word in the English language, the word free. And I loved when he repeated, like I told you, himself a lot because he had epilepsy. But boy did it stick. And boy did it make me go, oh my God, like free is used all over the place. There's nothing free about our market. We know that. It's completely controlled. We know it's complete bullshit. That proved it. So we wonder why this keeps happening. Well, fuck, look what just happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, this girl has crazy videos out there, things that are like, we're not talking about she wants to be more fiscally conservative and somebody else wants to be liberal and they just disagree on like how we spend money a little bit. We're talking about somebody who's made videos about all the QAnon shit that we just went over.
Yeah, and she's the most popular person right now of all of them.
And they're trying to say, oh, she's just the fringe on the right. Dude, that is not the same as somebody saying, I want to provide Medicare for all for people, a livable wage for people, which is the quote-unquote progressive wing of the Democrat Party. Like AOC and them, they're fighting for these views.
Well, you know, my good buddy,
are arguing
my good buddy, I'll call him R, right? He's like, he sends me a text and he's like, the irony, right? No, it's like the irony that this crap is like, you know, not like crazy anymore.
That's your fringe, and the fringe on the left is like, we want to give Medicare for all and livable wages
like
and having progressive mindsets and like bringing up everybody. Your guys are like, oh, I don't think Sandy Hook was real. And these kids are child actors.
Let's stop.
Yeah,
like everything, everything that you know, liberals they want to help out Americans. Let's do everything in our power to stop it. Like, that's the only way I can describe it at this point. It's just like, anything good, they shoot down. You know? We say...
Good versus evil. All these, like, statements that they started doing, that happened a lot with, what's his name? Newt Gingrich.
Yeah.
These things of, like, good versus evil and trying to play this, like, religion and taking guns.
I don't understand. It's like, why not let everyone be successful and succeed? And why does it, you know, on the right especially... When we're trying to help and we're trying to do something better, why is it always just a crazy liberal thing? Like,
I'm trying to give you education, you a livable wage, you Medicare for all, so you're not bankrupt by your college and medical debt is like some of the biggest ones. And giving you a livable wage and making sure that you have a respectable life, you know what's not going to make you do? Probably turn to violence because you're not in such poverty state where you start thinking about breaking and entering people's homes, you start stealing watches off of people violently, and one of those goes bad. You try to steal a watch from somebody, you have a gun, you freak out, you discharge it, you kill them, you're in jail for the rest of your life for murder for a couple $100 watch.
There's profit in poverty too. So
there's
a huge darkness in our nation.
Yeah,
and it is what it is at this point. I know that we'll continue to talk about it, and we'll continue to try to
because we talked about how people made most of their money in this country, and when you talk about money in having poverty, like we talked about that one day, what about like the biggest thing that's happened for hundreds of years, slavery? Hello, you want to talk about money and poverty?
You know,
if you can get people to work for nothing or horrifically enslave another human being, which is working for $0, right? You're making a lot of money. So the more you can put somebody in financial slavery, all the way to slavery,
I could go down a rabbit hole on that one.
You just keep going.
We definitely need help. We need to figure this out, and I don't know, like, where do we start, man? Because I'm willing to get out there and I'm willing to do what I have to do, but honestly, I just feel like I'm like treading water, man. I'm underwater.
Well, like we talked about, that 72% that made up the U.S. economy were Biden voters. When you dig into those numbers, there's a huge study that was just done about this. When you dig in those numbers, these are people that had college educations, right? And we know that. And you look at the other side, that's why. And I'm trying to get them trade school educated, right? Like, so if they like working with their hands, I want to convert them from the coal mining and all that stuff. If you can't see that that's going away, I don't give a rat's what you think is happening. It's going away. So we can, like Biden tried to do, and then they lose their mind about it. He said we could build plants to build solar panels, wind turbines, water generate, like we talked about that, the
Literally
recycling
in
thing.
their hometown.
Yeah,
in their hometown,
but their ancestors, a lot of their parents, the reason why they live in Pennsylvania or these, right, like, because they had somebody have to travel across country to go to where the coal mine was or the gold mine, right, whatever it was. That doesn't have to be done with solar and wind turbines. They could be built, like Biden even said that on the presser. We can, instead of you having to move from coal country, we can build it right there in the coal, like right where the coal mine was.
So I think
and people
that,
are like, oh, well, they're going to shut down the coal mine. It's being shut down.
I think that the biggest issue right now is that it eliminated so many jobs so fast.
Yes, and that's Andrew Yang. I talked about this, and we'll talk about it again. The big study that was done, there was like 4 or 5 major universities, Stanford, MIT. There's about 2 years ago, they said within 10 years, 65% of the top 5 employment jobs, like trucking, call centers, fast food working, retail, 65, I can't remember the other one, 65% are going to be gone to AI or robotics, right?
Yeah.
Like artificial intelligence. And they're telling everybody, oh, everything's fine, you're fine, dude. No, semi-truck driving, it's almost over. If you haven't seen the new Tesla semi, I'm sorry, it's over. They're going to have drivers, they will drive 24 hours a day. They don't have to worry about any kind of like OSHA or any of that stuff. They don't have to worry about any of that. They don't call in sick. Robots don't call in sick. Their kids don't get sick. They don't say, F you, I quit today. They work 24 hours a day, non-stop. So they are going to replace people's jobs. And if we don't start recognizing that and getting people educated into like futuristic things that they can do, and also probably paying universal basic income.
Well, and again, I agree with you, but basically what they see is right now these jobs are gone, so they don't want to hear anything else, right?
Yeah.
So how do we? Do you think that could have been done in a different manner, because there were thousands and thousands of jobs that were lost like that with the swipe of a pen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but like
but I definitely agree with what you're saying.
I talked about universal basic income. We could look at a forest fire as this horrific thing, or we can go, wow, it creates new life.
Yeah, and we can definitely
right, because a forest fire can create new life. That's what it does, right? And we are not, unless we continue to ignore, right, the 10% who believe in QAnon is 33, and again, I think that's closer to 20%. We'll call it 50 million people. We continue to ignore the dead wood, and I'm not trying to be rude to those people. I want to actually make them alive again so that they don't go down these crazy rabbit holes by having an education, or, for example, universal basic income. Telling a coal miner, hey, listen, we're going to pay you what you are making for the next 6 months. You're getting paid. But those 6 months, you're going to go into school to learn. You could pick one of these trades, solar, wind, whatever. I don't care what electrician, the HVAC tech. We will pay you. I'm fine with my tax money going to paying these women and men who've worked in these industries that are being shut down, truck driving, whatever it is. But we're gonna then give you a free crash course on trade school, or if you want to start going to universities. I don't know if we want to pay them for 4 years, but maybe we offer them hey, your first year is paid while you get some of your stuff done, and then maybe you have to work a part-time job. If the college is tuition free, maybe you only have to work a part-time job, and you have a universal basic income for people that's maybe $1,000 a month to get them started. Well, now you might only need to work 15, 20 hours a week and be able to get to school because it's free, paid through by taxes. We already pay taxes for this. We don't have to add on any new taxes, right? And then guess what? Now you've got people coming out of that poverty level, right? No matter what side of the aisle they're on, no matter what skin color they are, because greed knows one color, and that's green. They don't give a rat's, dude. They don't care what you guys believe in. These are greedy people who ran this world for long enough, and we got to start standing the fuck up to them and remove them. And I want to do it democratically. We don't need to storm the gates, but you guys listening, watching, telling your friends, stop voting for people who take money from big-time donors. And when they do that, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell are the same people. We can literally go to open source and see where they get their money, where their donations come. It's a .org. and we can see that. So, you know, so my last, and again, we'll continue to talk about this stuff, guys, while we do the podcast.
Lot of stuff.
My last thought on that topic, like I said, about the 72. So, the working class lost 3.7 trillion this year, while the billionaire class gained 3.9 trillion. So if you don't think that wasn't connected,
the working class lost 3.7 trillion,
and the working class, the billionaire class, gained 3.9 trillion.
Wow,
so if you don't think that wasn't connected, I think that you're a fool.
So that's something that I definitely want to talk about on our next show, on episode 6.
That's why I leave it with you, the last one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're coming up on an hour, guys, and we want to thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, on UF Idiots.
There you go, you got it right.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram at Unfiltered_IdiotsIG.
Yep.
And where else can we find us?
Yeah, obviously all of our podcasts are found, Spotify, Anchor, Apple. We'll have obviously all that linked below. Make sure you go and hit the bell, like and subscribe. Send us out to everybody, man. The more people that we can get out there, the audience that we can get out there and seeing this and getting your guys' feedback, like we talk about all the time. Give us your feedback, but we want you to go through it and listen to what we're saying.
Comment. Let us know. If there's some things that you want us to start taking out, there's some more that you want us to dive into, we're more than willing to listen. We're enjoying this. And we're one issue at a time. We feel like we're going to...
And don't mistake our passion for anger. Yeah. Because it'll come across that way sometimes too.
Liberals.
Yeah, right? I call them scumbags because I think they're scumbags, most of these politicians. Yeah. And so people think I'm as if I'm over here raged out.
If anybody knows,
I'm just trying to think about fixing the fucking problem.
Yeah, if anyone knows Wes, he has got a pure heart, and that's genuinely why I do this with him. Just not only because it's great banter, but he's got a pure heart. So we're not
angry. Same with Kenny, man. Same with Kenny.
We're not angry. We just want to try.
No, I'm trying to elevate everybody. I'm trying to elevate people. I tell my kids all the time, don't try to kick people. And just to get don't step on people to get up. Yeah. And so many of these people, know we're at the end of the show, but the Trumps of the world, that's what they've done. That's what they've done. They stepped on other people instead of saying, "Hey man, hey brother, hey sister, let me lift you up with me and elevate everyone or a 99% of them into better status." Yeah, and absolutely. Guess what? You will see violence go down. Yeah. You will see, crimes go down when we see. If people have a couple grand in the bank, I'm not saying they're all going to make the right decisions, but you're going to see...
It's definitely going to be different, yeah.
They won't be stealing watches. They won't be trying to break into cars. They won't be stealing your shit off your porch. Yep. You know what I mean? They won't think about that. So think about that the next time you sit there and go, oh, it's just people being lazy. And I'm not saying that some people don't work harder. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
people out there too, Wesley.
Yeah, we got to understand that people are working hard, and we got to make sure that they are not in a position where they're feeling, so left behind. That they're willing to storm a Capitol, that they're willing to, rob somebody on the street corner.
Man, that they just are. They don't know any other way.
Yeah.
But so anyways, guys, we love you. Don't forget to subscribe.
Absolutely. And
hit that bell.
See Kenny's beautiful little daughter.
Yeah, my daughter should be popping up anytime soon.
Make sure you
send
it
my son. Yeah, so
send it out. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week.
Love you guys.
Peace. We out. Unfiltered Idiots. Check us out.
Subscribe.
Kenny,
Unfiltered Idiots.
Good stuff, dude.
So who decided to make one meal?
This guy. It's almost like I married somebody who just doesn't care about my future. It's like I married some girl who doesn't care about my future and my fame over her eating. Unbelievable. I want a divorce.
When I heard the radio go on, I was like, Gina gives no
Stop recording.
Gina gives no
Oh, this is still recording.
Come here, Gina. Come here, Gina.
I totally took the
say hi to Gina.
This is my wife. For all those that don't know. And she's on all these different angles, and I have a whole turned around angle.
Oh, nice.
That'll be funny. I forgot to turn this off. And
Morgan was we were getting drinks and Morgan was
foremost.
Let's not start it yet. We don't even know, bro.
Okay.
We're recording now.
I'm gonna mess you up everywhere. Clap, clap, clap.
So this
I got
is,
the clap. You got the clap. We all got the clap, 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 clap.
You got the clap. I got
The clap, clap, clap.
Unfiltered Idiots, episode 5.
Episode 155 million.
Let's make sure that we get this done. Okay, and
all right. So we will get our thing down, and we will. I think we both all know that. Okay. God, these lights are bright. Kill my. Oh, I'll explain why I'm also blinking in my right eye.
okay.
So I got squirted. I had some food right in the with some Germ-X. Went to go press it.
Oh,
Right in my eye.
That's
Right in
good.
my eye, dude. Hurt like a
Okay.
mother yesterday.
you ready?
Yeah.
Looky, looky, look me up on Google, search the classics, you crazy bass. Hold me up and pull me down. It's a battle royale in the eye of the storm. Drowning in the shallows when the path is getting narrow. I'ma ride it out on this broken arrow. Fuck it. Hold me up, me up, me up.